Okay, we start off today here at this greasy tire hatch. I don't know if you can see the name of it or not. Anyways, getting the tires rotated on the van. There's one thing that drives me nuts, and I don't really know why, but it's when businesses have a giant wheelchair logo on their door, but there's no power door openers. Well, anyways, Portland's kind of a unique area in the surrounding areas with trying to be all inclusive and, you know, tolerant and all this stuff, but then they're not. I don't know, it probably shouldn't bother me, but anyways, gonna add some of this filth to the engine in the van here. On the way out to the warehouse right now, we're finally gonna play around with the screen protectors for the wheelchair joysticks. I've got three different samples of material to use. And I also got this here DYSON vacuum cleaner. The floor in the warehouse is filthy. I don't think I've ever vacuumed it. So we're gonna see if this thing works. And well, this is just because Chrysler. Anyway, it's probably gonna be here for about an hour, get these tires rotated, and then reconvene at the warehouse. We developed a little bit of an oil leak on this thing. I can't find it anywhere though. And apparently it's not very bad, but wherever it is dripping on something hot and making a little bit of smoke come up. I just started doing that on the drive over here. This is completely unrelated to that. This is needed to keep the valve train happy in this thing, but yeah, I've been looking around in here and I don't see any oil, so I don't know. Next time I change it, I'll probably have to look around underneath, but everything looks pretty dry. Okay, just left the tire shop, cruising down the highway, and I heard a bunch of crap flying off the van. So we're just gonna check here real quick and make sure we didn't lose some lug nuts or something. Okay, those are all on there. These are all on there. Looks like I still have the weight. What the heck was that? I heard one thing fly off and then something else, and it got sucked under the van. And I remember noticing the weights. There was only one on each wheel. Huh, that's weird. Well, I don't know. That's a strange one. Got all our lug nuts on this side. Looks like all of them are there too. Pop the hood and take a look, I guess. We've got all of our caps on everything. Power steering fluid, brake fluid, engine oil, coolant, transmission. Huh. That's really weird. I don't know. They did dismount and rebalance them, so I suppose... I don't think there would have been weights on the inside. Well, I don't know. Everything seems to be there. Whatever, I guess. Well, let's get to the warehouse and see if this thing works. Oh, and I found a fan and some other stuff. Well, it appears as though we're back in the warehouse. I'm not quite sure what that was falling off the van. I actually took the SD card out of the dash cam, and I'm going to review the footage behind me and see if I can see anything that fell off. The rear camera is not quite as high resolution as the front, so I don't know. We'll see. But before that, we're going to screw around with this thing. This here is a DYSON vacuum cleaner of some sort. I plugged it in and turned it on at the Goodwill, but I don't really know how these things work or whatever. So we got switches down here for bare floors and carpets. Then there's some sort of extendo. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah. Anyways, let's hook it up to power and see if it sucks. Yeah, so this thing was $24 at Goodwill. Well, here we go. This will probably be loud. So we have suction up here for some reason. It does not appear to be trying to cap that off. So I think this is, it's a removable wand of some sort. Oh, that's actually kind of fancy. Not really sure what's happening here. Yeah, I don't think I'm domesticated enough to know how vacuum cleaners are supposed to work. Okay, so we got that part. If these things claim to be all the rage and durable and whatnot, sucking up dirt and gravel off a warehouse floor should be fine. So, for anyone that thinks I'm going to destroy this by using it as a shop vac, well, one, you're probably right, but also two, they're supposed to be quality and handle that, right? Let's try it out. I'm trying to figure out how you tilt the thing. Oh. Don't think it's actually picking anything up. I don't know how vacuums work. Now I did assume this thing was going to have some problems, but yeah, we're not getting suction through there for whatever reason. Well, regardless, I'm going to find a manual for this thing and see if I can figure out what's going on. I'm sure there's some filter that's completely clogged in it. I assume coming from Goodwill there'd be something wrong with it. You don't just donate these for no reason. I'll be back. Okay, well, I don't get it. This thing, well, I was going to say it sucks, but it doesn't. All it does is push the dirt around. I even took out the main outlet HEPA filter so it could get more flow. And yeah, I don't know, maybe it's just designed for carpet. It does have this little, like, how does this work? It does have this little stick thing, so I guess it could work for that, but maybe I'm just missing something here, but this thing seems horrible. There's like, I mean, you probably can't see it on this camera, but there's all kinds of dirt all over the floor, and it's just like pushing it around. Now, anyways, I'm gonna get to cleaning up all of this filth in here. We're gonna be using this thing. I've got some sample material. Where is it? So I've got several sample materials here that we can use for screen protectors, potentially. So I'm gonna get these things hooked up, get them put into the cutting machine, and see if we can get some screen protectors going. So this little VEVOR thing here, but as you can see, the workbench is kind of a disaster area, so I'm gonna take care of that, and we'll get that computer fired up and do some design work. I've been playing around with this thing, working on cutting some different screen protector material. What I've learned so far is from the factory, there is already a screen protector on there. This little piece, you probably can't see it on this camera, but there's a little piece that's taped on here with a tab. When you pull that off, it leaves behind sort of a plastic layer that is actually on the LCD screen. So we'll just assume that that's missing or whatever. But what we're trying to do is find some different materials that will work for this. I've been using this clear laminating paint protective film stuff. This stuff though is not 100% clear, and I've tried a few different versions of it, and all of it has this like sort of texture to it. Now this stuff might work. I mean, when I look through this, it looks to be perfectly clear, but this stuff requires a little bit of water to cling, and also it's too big to fit in my machine. I think I'm gonna try cutting this down and then cut some test pieces of this. I think there might be adhesive on it, but this is like window protection film. I guess it's pretty thin, but the idea is in case the glass breaks, it kind of sandwiches it to keep the glass from going everywhere. So I'm not exactly sure, but we may have to try some different materials. The actual screen protector that came on the chair is more of a plastic than a film. So yeah. I also tried this stuff here. It's like a vivid vinyl stuff. It also had sort of a weird texture appearance, but the problem with this, I believe it's gonna leave behind glue residue, and that's what we want to avoid. There's some 3M Oracal material that we tried first. The adhesion on that is really good, and it's not gonna leave anything behind, but it wasn't clear. And the last thing you want in full sunlight, well actually here, let me demonstrate. Okay, here's a piece of this 3M material, and if we hold it up to the light, you can kind of see there's a bit of a texture to it. If we put it on the joystick here, it's not lined up super perfectly just because we're testing. We kind of get all the bubbles out of it. But then let me hit it with some light. Yeah, there you go. You can see the texture that it has. Now, while that will protect the screen, it doesn't look very good. And also, this stuff peels off really nicely and doesn't leave any residue behind. But that there, you can see it real well. So I think what I need to do is source some more plastic material as opposed to this film. This is one of those things that's hard to figure out. So I'm just buying a bunch of random stuff. Yeah, anyways. This might be an option. So I'm gonna cut this down and see if we can get it onto the machine and see how this works. As it turns out, this material is 100% crystal clear, but it has some issues. It cuts good, and the backer is adhesive. This stuff seems a lot more promising, but it requires a little bit of water to make it actually stick. It's also incredibly thin. I think I need something that's a little bit more stout and actually has some adhesive to it. But it's nice and clear. I don't think spraying water on the joystick is what you want. But I'm almost wondering if the backing might work. Yeah, the backing's not nearly as clear. Oh, and that's gonna leave residue. That's extremely strong. But yeah, I need something like this that's a little bit less thin and has a tiny bit of adhesion. I mean, look how nice and clear that is. It's like beautiful. So I forgot that this thing came with a ballpoint pen attachment, and that's actually really handy for learning the software because I can set up designs and play around with a bunch of different stuff, and I don't wind up breaking the knife blades. So I've been playing around with the software, learning that a little bit. Seems to work pretty good. As far as the screen protectors go, I need to buy some more material. It's one of those things that's a bit of an annoying process, and I don't know, it's hard to find information online about. I think what I'm gonna do is go to a couple of the local sign suppliers that I used to use a number of years ago, back when I had a sign business, and see if they can recommend anything. They've got tons of stuff in stock normally, and you know, usually they're the experts. I think for now though, instead of just leaving this thing bare, I'm going to stick one screen protector on here. I think I'll just use one of these. Oh, we've at least got something on there for now. And also we can verify if that's gonna leave a sticky mess. And I got some dirt under there, but we can verify if that's gonna leave a sticky mess or not after being on there for a few days. Some air bubbles. Okay, well, at least I've got the software pretty well handled now. I've kind of figured that out, how to do things pretty quick and easy. Fortunately, the materials I got, yeah, these are not what we need. So anyways, more on that later, I guess. I just remembered the other thing that we're dealing with today as well. The blue van, I randomly decided to check the coolant on it, and it's a good thing I did. It was almost a gallon low. Now, it hasn't been leaking anywhere, and I haven't smelled any on the inside, so that only means one thing: unexplained coolant loss. Now, it has been ridiculously hot outside. I've been driving around in 110-degree heat with the AC running in town and stuff like that, though I try to minimize how much I'm running the AC when I'm idling in traffic, so it is entirely possible that the radiator overpressurized and dumped some of the coolant. I feel like I would have noticed that or smelled it, but regardless, I think what I'm gonna do is flush, clean, and refill the cooling system, because I haven't serviced it in a good 20,000 miles, and it's something that needs to be done every so often anyways. So I stopped by the parts store on the way out here to grab a bunch of stuff for that. So, I think it's dark outside now. Yeah, I'm probably gonna drive back to the bus, and actually I don't know how light it is, but the lights back there for the houseplants turn off when it gets dark outside, and they've been off for a while. So anyways, probably screw in with that tomorrow maybe, I don't know, but it's always something. Oh, and I almost forgot, headlights make a weird pattern. Where'd it go? What the heck? Oh, here it is. We're taking Dyson back to Goodwill. For whatever's going on with this thing, I would rather have the $24 and then potentially find a shop vac or something like that there later on. So it was worth a try, but you have failed. Which, to be completely fair, a Dyson home vacuum is not a shop vac. I thought maybe it would work for that, but I don't know. This thing just seems weird, and it doesn't suck. It's always something. Oh, come on, chair, tilt back. Cruising down the freeway, whole truckload of freaking styrofoam or something. Bunch of it got up underneath here. I just want to make sure we don't have any of it stuck down in here anywhere. So, laying on the floor. Oh yeah, we definitely have an oil leak. I don't see any evidence of styrofoam though, so that's good. Huh. Looks like it might be the oil pan. Whatever. Probably fix that wiring there. Okay, I think we're good. It's always something. Freaking Dyson sitting there laughing at me. I guess if nothing else, that was a good excuse to look under the van and see where that oil leak was coming from. Okay, I think we are good to go. By the way, this transmission temperature gauge that I installed down here, it's ridiculously bright. The camera doesn't really show it, but it's like blasting me in the eyes. I'll have to get some sort of tinted film or something to put over the top of that. There isn't a way to dim it. It's just a little cheapo Amazon one, but it does seem to work pretty good, so that's nice. Okay, I guess we'll continue on. Oh look, it's the next day already. Last night I did a full cooling system flush and cleaning using the cleaning chemicals. It was probably 7 or 8 total flushes. Drove it about 20 miles last night after doing that. So we're gonna check our coolant now. I'm sure it's gonna need a little bit, simply because when you do that, there's air bubbles that take a little while to get out. Let's see how low we actually are here. Oh, that's not bad at all. It's still full, basically. I'll just go ahead and top this off with a little bit of water the rest of the way. Shouldn't take much. That seems good. I'm gonna fire it up real quick just to make sure. Yeah, that'll do nicely. Okay. Now, every day, that's probably loud. Now, every day when I get into this thing, or before I fire it up, or anytime I'm near it and it happens to be cold, I'm gonna check the coolant and keep an eye on it. I'm hoping it was just a random fluke, that it was a gallon low from hot weather and stuff, but the funny thing is the overfill bottle was completely dry. And if the 110 degree heat with the air conditioning happened to make it overpressurize, it would blow into that bottle and that would be wet. So I don't know. I guess we'll do that thing that you're not supposed to do and carry around replacement parts and jugs of water in our vehicle. It's somewhat unclear as to whether that will cosmically make things break or make them not break, because you can fix them. But then carrying around parts makes the existing parts feel bad, so they might leave. So, I don't know. Whatever. It is time to get rid of our friend Dyson. Hopefully they have another vacuum. I need to vacuum this out. Okay, once again, this looks significantly worse on camera than it is. Although my chair is filthy. Anyways, let's go return this. All right, we sent Dyson back to the glue factory, and I got something actually useful. This here, like, sort of pilot-style bag that has the flaps and the handle inside. Because I'm always carrying a bunch of crap back and forth between here and the warehouse, like camera gear and hard drives and whatnot. And a little miniature ultrasonic cleaner. I don't think this one has a heating element in it, but yeah, these are super handy for like fixing random parts and stuff. I think it was $7. Yeah, $7.99. And you know, other random stuff like a glasses holder and a battery bank. So, you know, typical Goodwill things. Excuse me. Typical things from Good Freaking Will. Okay, we ran this thing pretty hard on the way back. Let's see, we've got, yep, definitely got pressure built up in the cooling system. Not seeing any leaks. Only thing I can smell is that oil leak, which I think we determined last night when I was rolling around on the ground. It's the oil pan. Don't see anything leaking down there, so I don't know. I'm hoping it was just a fluke with the radiator thing. Whatever. Cars and stuff. And by the way, for those wondering about the transmission cooler we installed in a very early video, I'll link to that up here and down below. It's working really well. This gauge is actually the output of my secondary cooler. It'll turn off when well, after like 90 seconds or something. But yeah, it's been working pretty well. The highest I've seen the output of that cooler is like 148 degrees. And that's when it was 110 outside and I was running the air conditioner. Only problem is the air conditioning condenser sticks all of its heat directly into the transmission cooler, like the factory one. The tank style one I installed is in front of all that. So the hot transmission fluid comes out through the factory cooler, then out and into my tank style cooler, and then back into the engine. It would be nice to get another sensor on the transmission itself, but that's a lot of work and whatever. I figure if I see the temperature coming out of that secondary cooler, that's like a general idea of what the transmission is. So anyways, yeah, I kind of like these bags. I did notice there's a little bit of a musty smell inside this bag, but I have this here little tiny ozone generator thing, which charges with USB-C, by the way. So, you know, White Raven, it's acceptable. But yeah, this thing's pretty cool. It's got a 1 hour and a 30-minute timer. So there's a little fan inside there. There's a Corona discharge module. Anyways, all we need to do is set this thing to 30 minutes and we will set it down inside this bag here. Close up the lid and in theory, about 30 minutes from now, it should smell a lot better in there. Fast forward some amount of time. I think we need to stick our nose in this musty old bag we got from Goodwill. Oh yeah, smells like a summer breeze in there. Thank you, ozone thingy. Okay, we're at 12 miles now. We've lost all 3 green bars, but we're still getting full speed. And the braking and acceleration feels exactly the same. So, oh, we got 1 green bar back.